Welcome back. The Gallo Show, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Dave Hughes here. And joining us now, the Commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety, my buddy Sean Tindell. How you doing this morning, Commissioner?
Doing great. How you doing, Dave?
Not too bad. I'm a little cold, but I think that's going to get worse before it gets better. We'll talk about road conditions in just a minute. But first, let's get to the topic everybody is talking about right now. Just right there next to Mississippi, we had that attack on New Year's Day in New Orleans, and it understandably has a lot of people a bit concerned and worried, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's justified. Obviously, there are a lot of concerns after that event. More and more, it's appearing this individual was somewhat of a lone wolf attacker, which oftentimes, from an intelligence standpoint, is the hardest to get out in front of. But just because it doesn't appear that he was really talking to anybody else about what they were doing. So, but that's still under investigation. There's still a lot to be seen, especially when you combine it with what happened with the individual in Nevada and the bombing within 24 hours there, bombing suicide. So, and some of the commonalities in their backgrounds, it raises some questions. So I think as bad as the incident was, a lot of people are thought we, did the New Orleans PD do things that they should or shouldn't have done to prevent it? To me, one of the bigger questions is how did we get here, and what was going on in these individuals' heads that they got to a point where they wanted to set off a bomb at Trump Tower or Trump Casino there in Vegas, and then this individual who apparently became infatuated and tied to ISIS over the years. How did he get to that point that he decided he was going to take out all these lives? And so, and really, even the guy in Nevada, you look at what happened there, the explosives that were the gasoline, I think in his mind, it had to have been that it was going to cause a greater impact than what it ended up doing. So.
Yeah. Now, this does lead us to the question that everybody in Mississippi is asking about this, which is, what are the chances of something like this happening here, and what can we do to make those chances smaller?
Well, and that is, I think, a good question, and it's something that is on the forefront of the minds of first responders and law enforcement. We have a lot of parades in Mississippi. We love celebrating every time we get a chance, and whether you're at Ole Miss or whether you're at the coast or Mardi Gras or you're at Jackson State and it's a sonic boom playing and we have a parade, we like to get together and we like to have a good time, and, what vulnerabilities exist when we do that. And so from a law enforcement standpoint, more so than any other time in our history, I think we're in those events, how can we prepare and minimize the threats? Ultimately, though, and I think everybody needs to recognize and be cognizant of it, if bad people want to do bad things, they typically are going to figure out a way to accomplish those goals. And we can't live our life in fear. We can't not go to public events, spend time with events because we're afraid to walk out the door. Had it not been on Bourbon Street, this individual could have found any other number of places where he could have killed the same number of individuals by running his car through an event down in Frenchman's Corner, or maybe it had been over in Baton Rouge. So, because it was New Orleans, because it was New Year's, because it was ahead of the Sugar Bowl and Super Bowl, it got the attention he wanted. But the reality is, I think, the same amount of damage could have been done at any number of events across this country on any given day had somebody chose to ram a vehicle through a bunch of innocent folks and take lives. So, again, I think prepare. Be ready to respond. But there's no way, unless we want to put up barbed wire fences and ironclad structures on every road, that we're going to be able to make everybody totally safe all the time. And again, that's why I think the focus in this situation might not be on as much you can do to prevent that particular thing from happening. It's what's going on in these individuals' mind that they go down these rabbit holes, that they end up getting to a point that they want to do these types of things. And, it's interesting. I was watching the Kings of Tupelo, and there you had two individuals that seem to be going down. They get on the internet, they get into the dark web, they find these other groups that they associate with, and then their minds start building up these conspiracy theories or other ideologies that push them to take drastic action. So I think we need to really be looking at some of those other underlying issues on how do these individuals get to the point that they think this is the best option for them in their lives.
Well, and let's talk about one other aspect of this, which, reportedly it wouldn't have made much difference in this situation, but it is so important. The phrase that we've been using for years now: if you see something, say something. But I want to get your opinion on an extension of that I've been saying for a while, which is, do not prevent yourself, keep from notifying someone if you see something that just in the pit of your stomach doesn't feel right. You can't put your finger on it. Just something hits you wrong. You're not bothering law enforcement if you let them know that you just had a bad feeling about a situation or a person, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. And we get a lot of those calls, and we take a look into them. Sometimes, a lot of the times, there's really nothing that we can do, but at least we're aware. And if there is something we can do or action that needs to be taken from there. And so, yeah, if you see something, say something. If you get something in the pit of your stomach that says something's just not right with this person, or if you have a loved one that you know is going down, it might be a friend, a family member that you see is going down a dark place, that becomes obsessive with certain things, becomes radicalized, starts expressing ideas and ideologies that could potentially lead to these types of attacks. Let folks know. You're not only protecting them and helping them, but the greater public. And might be tragedy, and so I got to believe that somewhere along the way that there were people close to this individual that saw his radicalization into ISIS and ideological viewpoints and was expressing them. And they really, from that point there, let the law enforcement, let other individuals know so that we can take action and at least be prepared and hopefully maybe get them some help, some mental health assessments and get them to a place where they're better mentally.
Now, very quickly, because next weekend we've got a chance in a big part of the state to have some sort of winter precipitation. Do you get a knot in your stomach when I tell you that? Because we all know what that leads to. Any tips, any advice for people ahead of this polar vortex that's going to be moving in?
Just keep an eye on the weather and don't put yourself in a perilous position where you're putting yourself at danger or other people at danger. Roads ice over. Our drivers aren't used to driving in this type of weather, and so you got to make sure you have the proper tires, the proper vehicle. Rear wheel drive always causes problems on icy roads. In fact, I just got back from Colorado, and I think every car out there is either all wheel drive or front wheel drive. Just for that very reason. So, just be cautious. Watch the weather. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be stuck out there. You're going to get in a wreck, and nobody can get to you. And these events come through once a year, once or twice a year, and we just need to be smart. Thankful for our law enforcement. They're the ones that are out there in these conditions that are making our. And obviously, we try to preach it all the time. If you see the blue lights or the first responder lights, pull over. Move away from them so that you're not causing danger, particularly in icy conditions where your car can slide and hit somebody on the side of the road that might have already been in a wreck. And going back to law enforcement, appreciate what they do. I mean, how impactful was it? As soon as you saw that car turn onto Bourbon Street and take off, there was a group of officers that took off chasing. And, again, we talk a lot about what we can do to prevent that from happening in the future, and we should. But for what a great job they did from taking off after this individual, putting themselves in harm's way, and then minimizing that threat as quickly as they did. I applaud those officers and ours that I know if that call came, if they saw that, would do the same exact thing. So I'm so appreciative of our law enforcement. For that very again, with this vortex coming, our state troopers and other law enforcement will be the ones out there keeping their community safe while other people are hopefully bundled up at home and staying warm.
If you know someone that wears a badge, I don't care with what organization, with what agency, they literally get up every day with the intention of running toward the problem, whatever it might be, whether it be icy roads, whether it be a terrorist attack, whatever. Show them appreciation for that and just let them know that you noticed. That's a big thing. It really is. Public Service Commissioner Sean Tindell, always enjoy talking to you, sir.
Great to be here. Happy New Year, everybody, and looking forward to a prosperous and great 2025 in Mississippi.
Nowhere to go but up from here. It's only 3 days in, so we got a lot of runway in front of us. Sean, talk to you soon, sir. We will continue on the Gallo Show on this Friday morning right after this. Keep it here.